My name is Abraham Lincoln. History calls me a hero, a liberator, a legend. But few speak of this truth. Millions hated me. Not disliked, not opposed. They hated me. They cursed my name. They burned my image. They plotted my death. And in the end, they succeeded. This is the story of why one of the most loved men in history was also one of the most hated. When I was born, America was already divided. The South depended on slavery. Their wealth, power, and social structure were built upon human chains. Slavery was not just an economy. It was identity. It was culture. It was power. And anyone who challenged it became an enemy. I dared to speak against slavery. I said, "All men are created equal." Those words were dangerous. To Southern leaders, I was not a reformer. I was a threat, a man who could destroy their entire world. From that moment, I became their enemy. They did not call me president. They called me the Black Republican, the abolitionist devil, the destroyer of the South. Newspapers mocked me. Cartoons portrayed me as a monster. They said, "Lincoln will destroy America." And millions believed it. When I won the election of 1860, Southern states did not celebrate. They panicked. They saw my victory as a death sentence for their way of life. One by one, they began to secede from the Union. America split. And suddenly, I was blamed for the destruction of the nation. When the Civil War erupted, over 600,000 people would die. Every bullet, every corpse, every battlefield was blamed on me. They said, "This war is Lincoln's fault." Families who lost sons hated my name. Mothers cursed me. Widows blamed me. To them, I was not a hero. I was a butcher. In 1863, I introduced military conscription. Men were forced to fight. The poor were sent to die. The rich could buy their freedom. This ignited massive riots. In New York City alone, hundreds were killed. Black citizens were lynched. Entire neighborhoods burned. My name was shouted with rage and hatred. To preserve the Union, I suspended habeas corpus, meaning people could be arrested without trial. Thousands were jailed. Newspapers were shut down. Opposition leaders imprisoned. They said, "Lincoln is a dictator. Lincoln is a tyrant. Lincoln has destroyed democracy." For many Americans, I had become the very thing I claimed to fight against. The South hated me for destroying slavery. The North hated me for war, death, and forced conscription. I stood alone, hated by enemies, criticized by allies. No president in American history has ever been more isolated. When I ended slavery, Southern extremists saw only one solution: kill Lincoln. They believed my death would resurrect their lost world. John Wilkes Booth did not see himself as a murderer. He saw himself as a hero. To him, I was the villain. Daily, I received threatening letters, death warnings, assassination plots. My guards begged me to stop appearing in public, but fear could not rule me. I knew, if I fall, freedom must still stand. When I ended slavery, Southern extremists saw only one solution: kill Lincoln. They believed my death would resurrect their lost world. John Wilkes Booth did not see himself as a murderer. He saw himself as a hero. To him, I was the villain. When I was assassinated, half the nation mourned. The other half celebrated. Yes, they celebrated. Church bells rang in grief in the North, while secret cheers echoed in parts of the South. Such was the depth of hatred against me. Time revealed the truth: that my decisions were brutal, but necessary; that my leadership was harsh, but essential; that my sacrifices were heavy, but meaningful. And slowly, hatred turned into respect. If you stand for truth, you will be hated. If you challenge injustice, you will be attacked. If you change the world, you will make enemies. But courage is not being loved. Courage is doing what is right, even when millions despise you. My name is Abraham Lincoln, and this is why millions hated me.